Mhm.
Speaking of recording things, I hit record things because nobody wanted to hear that crap.
Yeah, of course.
Which was, if anyone's curious, 10 minutes of me playing with sound settings on my computer. So
Windows.
a window into the process.
Windows.
Yeah. Okay. Before
Do
we
do
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 this,
do 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 do
I
do. No,
should
wait,
put
that's Nokia. Shit.
I should put the thingy on the thingy. Sorry, that's not very descriptive, is it? You know what I'm saying, though, right?
I know exactly what you're talking
You
about.
know what I'm talking about.
Exactly what you're talking
I
about.
think y'all know what I'm talking about. Did you ever watch the racist song Key and Peele sketch?
I don't know.
No.
Maybe.
I'll have to send you a link for that. That one's great. But yeah, one of the racist country songs is I think y'all know who we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched the Chilean beer Star Wars yet?
Oh no, not yet.
I
I'll
can't
have,
get it out of my head. It's so good.
I'll have to get to that. Okay,
Cerveza Cristo.
clear my throat before you do something. I don't know. I guess we just start it then, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stop playing this video game then. It's not You shouldn't start your podcast
All
while
right,
playing a video
Luke.
game.
All right, Luke.
I don't know if he starts them by playing the video games. He probably does.
Sometimes I look at his window and he's just staring and somewhere, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Dude's gaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I should be doing that. I've been
I
playing
mean, well,
Vampire.
you do get
I've
to the
been playing
thing.
Vampire Survivors lately, and it really does not require. I could absolutely play Vampire Survivors while doing this.
See, I was playing a dumb casual match 3 game, and I finally got to the part where it starts to get hard, and then it's not fun anymore. So I'll probably be deleting it the next day or two.
No more casual.
Well, you get another one. I mean, I've got them 500 levels in. That's a game, right?
I'm just like I'm always just
I
playing it
don't.
till it
I
gets
don't.
hard, and then I like it.
Yeah, yeah. That's where I am on this one. So.
I want you should just pass it to me when you're done when it's too hard for you, and then I'll finish it.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a match 3 game. It's not like you finish it ever, right?
Yeah, I probably don't want to play that
They
really.
just want to drive you so insane that you start paying money for power ups and stuff. But if you have a hard line against doing that, you're good to go.
I
I
don't.
mean, I buy a
It's
game
not
like
even that
Chrono
I have.
Cross.
I don't even just have a hard line against doing that, but like now I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm anti-capitalist just to the core now, or if the entire scheme is just wearing on me. But it's like even games where you have to try and pick up a bunch of stuff or make me mad now.
Well, let's see.
You know?
The best games on here are the ones I paid for up front. FTL. That's a good big game for an iPad.
Yeah, that's supposed to be great.
And Broglio, I paid like $1 for that. That's a good like simple puzzle game. Um, have you heard of
Natalie
that?
Imbruglia. No, I never played that.
Oh yeah, no, I'll show you that it's you just that you play on this weird grid if you can see it.
Yeah, I'm just getting a big what. Okay, I kind of see the grid now.
Yeah. So each one has a
Kind of.
weapon, and then monsters come through, and you're trying to strategize, and yeah, it's
Have you
fun.
played Vampire Survivors yet?
Yeah, I don't have the addiction you do. I mean, I played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, okay, this is amusing, and then kind of stopped.
Yeah, I played that a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think um
that one didn't. I mean, it's still on here. I think it's still on here, but I haven't played it in a
oh
while.
no, I didn't mean to launch it. No, don't launch
Oh,
it.
see now you're doing it. Oh, it's on
Yeah.
your PC.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have the iPad version, I guess. Maybe it plays better on a PC. I don't
The
know.
the iPad version came out like way later.
Hmm.
I was just in on kind of the ground floor.
Mm.
Um
Out there, Omega. I played that a fair amount.
how do I Steam's UI sucks. I don't know why people are always defending it. Store, library, vampires. I'm just trying to see how long I've played it for. 69 hours. Nice.
69. Don't play it anymore. You'll ruin the number.
Yeah.
Vampire 69.
Woo!
Okay, okay. I guess we'll
Yeah.
do it.
There's
We'll
no
do it.
vampires in it.
Right.
There are no vampires in it. There a bunch of times you find a coffin and there's never a vampire in it. All
Well,
right.
they're survivors, the vampires. That means the vampires are gone. It's in the title.
it's it's just the most Italian game ever. It's like a bunch of power-ups that are like have the hand,
Mhm.
Italian hand. There's a power up that's clearly a cock ring.
Right. Okay, give it the 5. I'll start the thing. Hello, welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we delve 30 fathoms deep into every episode of The Twilight Zone and beyond. This is Matt here. Over there is Mark
Hi, it's Mark.
in his watery grave.
So
Davy Jones Locker.
if this was in season 3, would it have been a 15 fathom grave
Yes. Yeah, they should make it 50 fathoms, right? Then there could have been 25 fathom grave for the old one.
I
But no, it's
suppose.
the 30 fathom grave.
I
The
fathom that they just didn't really change a whole lot in this except adding dialogue to it.
Yeah, as the recording schedule goes, this is actually me starting season 4, even though for you, the listener, it's the second one. But
Also
yeah.
for me, the guest, it's the second one.
Oh,
I
okay.
watched the first one.
I haven't bothered with the first one yet. Well, I will say you were just saying like you liked it, but it felt a little padded. Would you apply that to
Yeah,
this one as well?
yes, I
Yeah, okay.
would.
Okay. I mean, I get that.
But literally I read the trivia for this and it said, well, it was padded.
Yeah, I just guess it was padded.
It was finished. The script was finished. And then
Yes.
it was extended.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I don't have that in my trivia, but I have other trivia, I guess. Um, Although I will say one thing that I read after writing my trivia was I made a note, like, do destroyers have wooden doors? Because I assume it was a set, but then it said that they did do filming on the USS Edson, so maybe destroyers have wooden doors in the 60s. I don't know.
For
What do you,
40s.
yeah, yeah. What do you think?
Sure, why not?
I don't know. It just seems, I feel like you'd have a hatch, wouldn't you? Like a big steel thing, like oval shaped. Isn't that what you have on ships?
I don't know anything about ships, and I don't feel like I really know any more now after watching this.
I went on those ones and they have in Charleston when I was a kid, right? You know, we saw a ghost and but that yeah,
Mm.
it doesn't have like normal doors if I remember correctly, but it's been a while. So
It
I
should have
was
a screen door
I was
so we can
yeah,
all laugh
well,
about it.
right. Screen door on a battleship, that's right.
Yes.
This is
We can
destroyer
all
again, just
laugh.
for those that are picky.
It has a door on it that makes things, which
Okay.
means it's ironic that it's on the destroyer.
Anyway, I thought too hard
Get
about
it?
the door for some reason.
I did not notice the door.
Okay. Here is the trivia. Original air date was January 10th, 1963. Script is a Serling. Music is stock, but we heard some of it in The Invaders a while back, and that was a Jerry Goldsmith joint, which I think you could kind of smell with a few of those music cues if you're a
Yeah.
Goldsmith fan. Perry Lafferty directed. It seemed he caught more fire after this. He helmed episodes of MASH, All in the Family, and The Mary Tyler Moore Show. In 1985, he directed An Early Frost, which was one of the first bits of media to confront HIV/AIDS. Mike Kellen was Chief Bell. He typically engaged in funny military roles, like in At War with the Army and The Wackiest Ship in the Army. Yes, The Wackiest Ship in the Army. The title doesn't seem to quite
Hmm.
sit.
I
Uh,
suppose an army could have a ship
yeah, they can.
if they
It's just
wanted.
kind of a
I
weird
mean,
thing to name your movie.
if police can have a tank, then the army can have a ship.
Yeah. He also showed up in TV guest spots on Lost in Space, Gunsmoke, and Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He is one of those, like, I recognize this guy from somewhere, but I guess I didn't. So maybe he just has one of those faces.
I agree. Yeah, I sort of
Captain,
went down the same.
yeah. See,
Yeah.
okay, Captain Beecham was played by Simon Oakland. I mean, I didn't have so much of a that guy thing with him, but he scored notable feature film credits in movies such as West Side Story, Psycho, and Bullet. So I'm like, well, I've seen him then. Doc was David Shiner or Shiener. It's spelled Shiener. He made all the regular 60s TV guest spot rounds, and you'll also find him in The Greatest Story Ever Told. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, The Odd Couple, and Blue Thunder. John Considine, not Constantine, Considine, played McClure. Basically copy the TV guest credits from Shiner and leave in The Greatest Story Ever Told. 60s Hollywood was professionally incestual, I guess. You may not have noticed OOD Smith, but maybe you noticed Bill Bixby. While he had a storied career, we're just going to track him as Dr. David Banner, not the effeminate sounding Bruce Banner in the Incredible Hulk TV series. Who thought Bruce sounded effeminate? That sounds like a brawler name, you know?
I
You know that story, right?
one exec. Yes, I do. I guess
Okay.
one executive did.
Yeah, I guess so.
I
But
mean, the tale of executives messing with superhero things is far and wide and long and deep,
yeah, there was
30 fathoms deep.
yes, I forgot the name of Marvel's original money guy that would just like that's why they like, didn't have like all of the superheroes for the first 10 years that got feature films had to be like, you know, like white bread male superheroes because he anytime they bring up something like Black Panther, he's like, no, no women.
I
Here's
was
the
like
money.
Ike Perlmutter or something
That's
like
it.
that,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. Who is
Yeah,
also
he was the reason that the Black Widow, who was the character in like the second movie they produced, didn't get a solo movie until after she was dead.
right.
That was one of the worst ideas I've ever. Yeah, yeah, she's dead. Let's go visit her. Anyway,
Well, it's because at that point, you know, the legal stuff. I think he still fronts some of the, you know, production credits on this, but he no longer gets any, you know, I guess he doesn't get any like official opinions anymore.
I think he cashed out and now is just a billionaire who
Just a
gets left
billionaire
alone.
racist.
Yeah, I mean, we can just assume all billionaires are racist. Did you get the whole thing about how the guy who played Bell died within like 2 weeks of the ship being decommissioned, and then also the captain died around the
Oh,
same time?
oh, I didn't catch that. No, no. I
Yeah,
it
he
was a
died
while later though. Yeah.
August 26th of 83, which is like 20 years after this, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then the ship was decommissioned 11th of August, and the captain died the 29th of August. Meanwhile, the wait, where is this other piece of trivia? The whole number of the submarine was not assigned until May of 1983. So maybe when the whole number of the submarine was assigned, then it cursed everyone, and then they died within 6 months.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Because yeah, when I'm looking through making the trivia, if I see a death say like 20 years later, I'm like, unless it's a Gig Young thing where it's like an insane murder suicide, I tend not to look too closely into it.
I mean, it may, curses are fun. I guess it's not a huge coincidence when they're, within a month of each other, but
Well,
yeah.
that happened when I was doing my Call Disney one, and my co-host was talking about how he felt like him and a few friends were cursed by like some lady in Italy or something on the street, and then I was like, well, how are your friends? He was like, oh, actually,
Actually, what? Actually, they're dead?
yeah. He's like, oh crap,
Oh.
maybe I'm next.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was gonna be a funny question, but it was kind of hardcore.
Well,
Just like the
just
Chief
get
in this. Chief Bell, very hardcore man.
you guys only have a few movies left to go. You better get in time.
Oh, you don't won't believe what the Disney list turns into once you get into the 2000s.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Becomes
That is true.
insane.
That's true. They started putting out like 25 movies a year.
Yeah,
Well,
I think they put out as many movies from 1938 to 2000 as they did from 2000 to now. Like maybe more in that
wow.
second half or second
Well,
part, phase two. Um, anyway, can you give us the opening narration of the 30 Fathom Grave?
okay. Well, just to peel
Apologize in
back the
advance.
curtain a little bit, I am not going to read this at one half speed like I should.
Would you?
Incident
Wouldn't it be a double speed? No, yeah, that would be
100
shorter.
miles
Off the coast of
off
Guadalcanal.
the coast of Guadalcanal.
Time the present.
Time, the present. The United States naval destroyer on what has been a most uneventful cruise. In a moment, they're going to send a man down 30 fathoms and check on a noisemaker, someone or something tapping on metal. You may or may not read the results in a naval report because Captain Beecham and his crew have just set a course that will lead this ship and everyone on it into the Twilight Zone.
Except it's Twilight Zone now, officially with season
Yes,
4.
it is Twilight Zone.
I
Twilight
didn't
Zone. We'll be right back.
I did specifically notice he did say the Twilight Zone, or maybe the. I don't
Mhm.
remember between those two, but yeah, because I was like, hey, wait, he's saying that. This is also clearly like if season 3 we were trying to guess when he was on set or not. This is clearly like, yeah, he's not spending time in California these days.
Yeah, and this was the when the credits started with E equals MC squared and the giant eye that I remember scaring me when I was a kid. I had no idea what E equals MC squared meant, so I was just afraid of it.
How about the
It's like,
Twilight Zone Tower of
no.
Terror? Because it has the Florida one has that room with that stuff that you go through,
I
which the
mean, I
other
went on
one
that when
didn't.
I was like 35, so I wasn't afraid of E equals MC squared anymore. I mean, it was
Okay,
scary,
yeah,
but it
the
was
dropping
good.
part was, I guess, more scary.
It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
No, it's a Disney park. It's supposed to be a fun bounce, you know? It's not
Was
supposed to be a Six Flags terrifying, is this machine going to fall apart as I'm on it thing.
well, yeah, you're inside of a. You're not like you don't look at the outside all that much, and that, but also you just don't know how you're going to react to like a drop ride until you try it. And I
Yeah.
thought I would just freak out, and I really did fine with it.
No, I remember I went on Red Tower in Fuji Q Highland, the theme
Mhm.
park at the base of, or an amusement park at the base of Mount Fuji. And the Red Tower, takes you up however many meters and just kind of unceremoniously drops you at some point. I don't like that. I got off of that and said, oh, that's the last time I ride one of those.
Yeah, I mean, there's one called Acrophobia at Six Flags, and if somebody says let's ride Acrophobia, I'll do it, but I'm not usually going to suggest that.
Yeah, I guess I could be pressured into it, but yeah,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't
yeah,
be like, hey, I want to go
it's
ride
fine.
that. Hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's fine, but it's sort of like the the percentage of scary to fun is like higher than usual, and also the ride is really short for
Right.
however long you wait in line for it.
But the
Like
Disney ones, yeah.
there's no way for it to last longer than you know like
Twilight
the
Zone, Tower
regular
of
ones.
Terror, great.
Twilight Zone lasts, I think the Twilight Zone lasts like a minute.
What
Maybe
has all those
the
rooms?
regular
It
drop
flings you.
towers, yeah, that's true. Regular drop towers last like 5 seconds. It's
Yes.
just like, and most of it, 5 seconds isn't super fun.
Right. But
Um,
yeah, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror or the non-Twilight Zone themed Tower of Terror in Japan. I'll get on both of those in a second.
or the Guardians of the Galaxy one in California that I
Right.
heard is good.
Yeah, haven't been on it, would do it. Although the Florida one looks even crazier. So they have a Guardians,
That's a
different
totally
Guardians ride.
different,
It's
yeah.
a
That
totally
is
different
a
ride, but it sounds like it's pretty cool. I watched
a
a
lot
few
of people
videos.
have called that the best indoor ride ever made, which is wild.
Yeah, but if you watch a video of it, you're like, oh, this is a you got to be on it sort of thing, you know?
Oh yeah, it's like everything, right? I mean, I don't know. Video's okay for really slow moving rides, but for
Oh yeah,
something
if you want a
fast, it's
slow
not
moving
gonna.
dark ride, you want to watch an old Epcot ride. Most of them work pretty well on a video.
Yeah, but I mean, like Mummy Returns or something like that, you have to be there really. Or
Right, right.
Revenge, sorry, Revenge of the Mummy. Need to respect my favorite ride.
Okay, I haven't been on that before.
It's my
Uh,
favorite ride. It's the best ride.
what was I?
Anyway,
Yeah, sorry, I was about to start talking about more rides, so maybe we should change gears to this naval ship. Um,
yeah, I gotta say, this wasn't very fun. This episode was not very fun. It was okay. It wasn't very fun. The ghost guys were scary. I liked the ghost guys.
they
I
were
liked
cool.
the, I liked when Bell just started screaming out of nowhere, and he was screaming about screaming. But
With the
not great.
exception of Rod Serling at the end saying that no one's ever going to hear about this incident, it
Mhm.
felt more like a one step beyond thing, didn't it?
Yeah,
Like kind of a
it
simple
did.
ghost story that ends pretty much how you expect it's going to, you know?
Yeah, they spend like days in investigating the ghost, and when the guy goes overboard, they're just like, he's dead. Let's go. Doesn't nobody cares.
Oh, I think that's how the Navy actually works. If someone's overboard and they're like definitely out, it's like time to
Yeah.
move on, folks. They
Man
got a
overboard. See
they
you
got a war to
later.
fight. Yeah. Hey, it's
30. Enjoy
1963.
your fathoms.
They got a missile crisis to get to in a few months.
Yeah. Hurry, we've got to go.
Oh
We've
no,
got to
no,
go
no.
to
Missile
Cuba.
crisis is 62, isn't it? Sorry. They got a presidential
Yeah.
assassination to get to in a few months.
Yeah, they got to get the boat over to the Dallas, Texas.
The boat actually shot
uh,
shot him.
the
That's
as the those the
it was
third
hiding
gunman or
behind a
whatever,
it was
second
hiding
gunman.
behind the depository.
Well, anyway,
I had a few things I guess made it I was playing a few mental games to I guess entertain myself while watching this.
hmm
Um one is McClure is so close to McLean. I kept thinking of Die Hard, and then there's a line in here where he actually says something about dying hard, and I was like,
yeah,
"That's so weird, meta funny."
I put it in my notes. Was it John McClane?
McClure
I didn't
says
even I didn't even connect that. I didn't
dying
even
hard.
yeah. I there at one point someone said that he came up with a bunch of dumb-headed boners.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was good. Yeah, I definitely wrote that down. The other one, like this, really, maybe because partly because it's now 50 minutes. I was like, this is like a slight reskin and rewrite away from like a TOS Star Trek episode, you know?
I suppose.
Like make it was the Klingon War 20 years ago. There's a nebula with a ship inside, you know. Make it a little less woo-woo metaphysical and a little more like science weird, and you have a TOS Star Trek episode with this more or less.
Well,
Uh
the
because
thing that
Kirk gets all stoogey and screamy at some of his underlings in the original show, like at the
yes,
beginning of
of
this.
course. Well, you have to, right?
Yeah.
No, but the thing that makes it not very fun is that it was the guy's ship, and then we don't know what the ship is, and he's like, "That was my ship. I was on it," and then he jumps overboard, and then is reunited with his ship full of dead guys,
Yeah,
one of
so
which
I guess he
may
has
have
survivor's
died
guilt.
recently, I suppose,
No, no.
depending on a guy who had a hammer. I don't know.
Well, they find
Maybe it
his dog tags. Okay, I guess this is where it's a little bit confusing. Are we 20 years ago, he was actually on the ship, he's the one survivor, so now he's rejoining his crewmates, but he lost his dog tags, which I guess makes sense if he's escaping from a drowning submarine.
it's all too neat. I mean, it would be all they really had to do to make it more interesting was maybe it turned out that his brother was on the ship or something. I don't know, or he was supposed to be on the ship, but he didn't go on it. I'm not. I'm just reaching for stuff, but they could have just made it a little bit um more zazz. Just put a little more zazz on it. It
Put
was just
more
sort of like
zazz on it.
this was my ship, so it's sort of one of those everything in its place. Yeah, of course it's here to get this guy back. And
I,
he's having weird head stuff happening. It's
one
just it's all really neat, tidy, you know?
Yeah. One other thing that maybe made this episode not fun, and it was supposed to be, I guess, stylish and effective, but to me it just got annoying that you hear the tapping in like almost pretty much literally half of this episode.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't bother me a lot, but it bothered me a little. It wasn't it wasn't an interesting enough noise. It's like you need to get a sound design guy to make something that goes like you
Yeah.
know um I was like I was wondering if it was based on one of those like there are certain sounds that are famous like the bloop,
Right.
but I looked that up and the bloop is from like the 90s. So I don't know if there were famous unexplained sounds back then.
Right. Um, there was also when McClure is down there banging on the ship in response, he's using like the butt of an unsheathed knife. That seems
hmm
like a weird thing to use underwater. Wouldn't you be worried about, I don't know, cutting something important with your unsheathed knife? Maybe I'm being too snitty here, but
Well, you just didn't have a whole lot to focus on, so you focused on that. That's I, you know, that I had a hard time. I'm not a big military. It's not like that. It's not specifically just because of, taking lives or whatever. Like just military stuff generally kind of makes me kind of bored because there's protocol and everyone's wearing the same outfit and they have, you know, they have all
I
this
do have
professionalism.
I have a weird soft spot for submarine films. That's why in the first 10 minutes my notes are like, are we going to get a submarine? Yay, we get a submarine kind of. I mean, they don't really spend much time, but You know, Crimson Tide. That's a tight movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but this is nothing like that. It's I
You
thought it was
you
going to
must
be maybe
love
a
Crimson
chase or
Tide. It's
something.
like 2 hours of guys screaming in each other's faces.
I'm not sure if I saw that. I saw Hunt for Red October. That
I
was
mean, you
fine.
got Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman like close enough to kiss, screaming at each other.
Hmm. I'll have to check that out.
I'd like Crimson Tide better than Red October. I think I don't
I
like
mean,
Tom Clancy. Because I
yeah,
don't really like any of the Jack Ryan movies that much. I think they're all kind of boring.
I've never seen, I think, any of his films. He wasn't the one who wrote Jurassic Park. No, that was Michael Crichton, wasn't it?
Right, right. Yeah, his films are spotty, but his books are usually pretty
Hmm.
good. Like Sphere's not a great movie, but it's a
Oh.
reasonably decent book. Congo's a pretty good book, and the movies, I don't know. Maybe I should revisit Congo. I feel like it might have aged interestingly.
Oh, Crimson Tide was directed by Tony Scott and it was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, so it's probably awesome.
It is awesome. That's what I'm telling you, man.
It's probably great. Yeah,
It
I
is
have to
great.
watch
That's
that.
why I brought it up as a
It has
submarine.
Viggo Mortensen and James Gandolfini in it too. All right,
Yeah,
cool. Wow.
but
How
I
did
mean,
I miss this one?
I'll watch old crap like Operation Petticoat as well, though. And you've heard the infamous oh god down Periscope story, right?
Down Periscope story? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, back in the day when I worked at the main office of my company, you'd have to make like people would sing happy birthday at the opening meeting and you'd have to make a little birthday speech. And I said, I only remember a few of my birthdays well. When I was 16, I took four girls to see Down Periscope. And after one of my coworkers like, I can't believe you said that to it was like, what? I went to a movie. Anyway, he thought four girls to see Down Periscope was a very different story. No, I literally took four girls to the AMC North Lake Theater to watch the movie Down Periscope starring
Down Periscope.
Kelsey Grammer. So I was like, man, I wish I had
Oh.
that story to tell everyone and offend them with.
Mm.
Not really, but yeah, it was just that was pretty entertaining. He didn't know that was a real movie. He thought I was making up a movie title to be dirty.
I mean, when I went to see the movie End of Days, I was with two girls and they were both sort of hitting on me and I didn't, I was too stupid to like act on it. So that's
Oh well,
something.
I did that doubly, like a season 4 Twilight Zone episode.
Hmm.
Anyway, where were we? The military. Yeah, what is? Do you have a military jam? Like, I'm not always like this one is a little dry. I think we could probably honestly
I
say.
mean, I really like the first half of Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
there,
great
that
stuff.
tells you where my head is.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the movie where I've seen the first half like 80 times and the second half like twice.
Uh, I'd say more like seen the first half 6 times and seen the second half twice. But yeah,
Okay, we're
know.
being realistic. Let's say the first half 12 times. 80, of course, is an exaggeration, but 12 times probably for the first half, and like really, I think it's twice for the war part. The rest of the movie's not bad. It's just
Yeah.
once it's like it's front loaded, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll figure that out on some other podcast, maybe. Oh wait, maybe
No,
we
no,
won't.
it's right
We will
off the
not.
bat. No.
I don't know where Kubrick's head was at doing that. I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess he was like thinking it'd be like a bell curve, like a Liberty Bell. Yeah, that's what when they were talking about the bell cracking up, that's why I thought it's like the Liberty Bell cracks up. So Chief can crack up like a Liberty Bell.
Well, you look at Clockwork Orange is sort of the same way, except for like the first the first half of Clockwork Orange is not actually that fun to watch because it's kind of horrible.
Yeah.
I guess it's like maybe Clockwork Orange it sort of is supposed to function like Clockwork Orange, but since you're watching like a sad, disturbed man go insane and shoot a bully, then you don't feel as bad as watching like a terrible man just terrorize regular people
Right.
like Clockwork Orange is. Um,
I was talking about our bell in this episode. So I
mhm.
moved on from Kubrick just to,
You
if you're
should.
responding to me. Okay. Oh, this is funny. This was how my brain works. Like the first time we see the ghosts, I swore I saw Channing Tatum there. And the second time I was like, well, I guess if you combine three of these people, maybe you get that. But I realized the reason I saw that is because I recently watched the movie Hail Caesar, in which Channing Tatum does a 1950s style musical number with a bunch of sailors called No Dames.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
I mean,
Um,
it's like if you like the Coen brothers, you should watch it. But it's not like a general like, hey, everyone should go watch it sort of film. It's like if you like the Coens, you'll probably dig it.
I like Cohen's and I should watch it. It's just one of those things where I haven't gotten around to it because I don't get around to a lot of things.
No, no, that happens, doesn't it? Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Backlog. But well, it's a yeah, it kind of sucks that this is an hour long and there feels like less to talk about than the usual Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, oh, we're really gonna have to, talk about more stuff, but not really. So,
Yeah,
mm,
the first episode in his image is has more stuff than this does.
well, I guess that's the sorry, Mark. That's the flaw of being assigned episodes rather than asking for them.
Well, yeah, I couldn't by the time I could have finished it and asked for it, it was like
Very
6 hours
taken.
before we were going to record this.
It's almost doubly
So
taken.
doubly
Yeah, because I'm
taken.
looking in here. What do I have? Overblown description of the 1,000 yard stare, but I could hang in that faux wood paneled break room. That was kind of cool. I liked it. It was like
Mm.
60s fun. But yeah, if I'm thinking that deep about the break room, I guess there's not a whole lot happening in the episode.
I mean, the destroyed submarine was pretty cool,
They had
I
the very
guess.
oh yeah, the sub stuff looked good for TV, especially because they had to do that bit with an actor as well. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, I guess that cost a few dollars to film that stuff. What do you do?
Yeah.
You get a
Yeah,
tent,
it looked
dive suit.
expensive. That was a big plus of this episode is that the ship being, a real ship, it looked cool. It wasn't a lot of tight shots to fake that they were on a ship. It was definitely they were on a ship. So that's
Um,
nice.
there's a nasty pile of seaweed, especially in black and white. Oh, the realistic shot where the cap's on the bridge near the end with like super sweaty armpits through his shirt. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did not notice that.
That man was sweating, but I'm like, well, that's probably what's going to happen on a naval destroyer, so it can't fault it.
I wrote what's probably one of the worst notes I've ever taken,
Do you want
which
to
is
read it or
he
not read
was
it?
picked up by a destroyer, beats being destroyed by a pickup.
Oh, okay. I guess it's not I don't know. It's not that bad.
That's pretty bad. But it was something to talk about. Like my notes don't even take up the whole screen. Anyway,
Do I notice? I know
um,
it's just take, but I was like halfway through and looking. Oh, how am I writing like double the notes? I'm like, no, I'm writing fewer notes than usual. Okay, that's weird.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna just verbatim take down all the ship speak,
Okay,
Navy
I
speak.
wrote down. I bet the submarine is really their destroyer, which was not the case actually, except for that one guy.
He was destroyed
He was
by
destroyed.
something,
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
himself.
I wrote halfway through like, hey, if this is anything more than a standard ghost story, I haven't gotten the twist yet. I guess the one stand is it Survivor's Guilt? Should we look at this as a Survivor's Guilt
Yeah.
story? I mean,
Oh God, yeah. It's 100. That's the problem is that there isn't really much there besides survivor's guilt. I mean, I guess it was sort of his fault that the like I didn't take down everything he said about like his screaming fit because it just kind of went on forever, but like it sounded like he sort of messed up and that's why they sank or something.
yeah.
And they
So it's
started
like
screaming, they're calling muster on me.
I'm calling muster on you.
I'm calling muster. No, don't call muster on me. I'm gonna jump off this boat.
So I guess I was sitting there thinking, again, that's a little more one step beyond, right? And I'm sitting there thinking Twilight Zone, where he's on the submarine already, which I guess is not the case. It's a more straightforward, like, because that means that him seeing the ghost is like him actually cracking up.
I feel really bad for Rod Serling at this point because I can tell he's kind of burning out, and presumably it wasn't. I mean, yeah, it wasn't necessarily his idea to just do so many episodes in the third season because some got bumped from the second season, right?
Right. And
That
then
that
the show
happened.
is excuse me. And then the show is actually canceled and season 4 is a return of it's replacing the show that replaced Twilight Zone, but the show that replaced Twilight Zone was an hour long. So now Twilight Zone has to be an hour long.
It's just like he's sick of dealing with these network people from the very beginning, and now the network people are directly screwing the show up, and you
I
know,
guess like this being the second one that people see in season 4 is like maybe bad placement. Like if this were smack right in the middle of the season, but yeah, this is your second episode of season 4. This is my first. I didn't see the first yet, right? So I'm just like, ooh, yeah.
I am assuming
There's some
that
taffy being drawn here.
I'm assuming that later on that there will be some episodes that were conceived to fit this format.
Right.
I don't know that for certain, but I mean, I will assume that this wasn't like bad. It was just like, it was just okay. You know what I mean? It's like maybe I am cutting it a lot of slack because I know the network is just
Well, I'm
doing
putting it, that's why I keep
super
bringing one
job.
step beyond, because I'm like, when we were doing those episodes, we would have watched this and fine TV. It's not the Twilight Zone, you know?
Yeah,
This has a little higher production values, I think. So that helps, you know, the cinematography is better. I do, you know, Serling, even if he's a little burnt out, is usually a better presence as your narrator, more effective presence as a narrator, you know?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just kind of like, well, yeah, I guess it's fine for 1963 TV.
Well, there aren't a whole lot of. I'm just looking at the IMDb ratings, and there are a little higher rated ones later on, but they mostly seem to hover around the sevens. And then the season finale is rated very low.
Oh yeah, that's what that often comes in as like the most. If you thought last season's finale was a little raw or not as good,
Mm,
which was not on a recorded conversation, was it? Yeah, you were saying that you thought Changing of the Guard was like a tick or two under season 1 and 2's last episodes, which
yeah,
was the Obsolete Man and World of His Own, both which were, you know,
yeah,
bangers.
yeah. Those. The thing is, it had the weight that a season finale of this show normally has, but it wasn't. It had the weight without being all that good.
And
Whereas
the
the other
30
ones were.
fathom grave doesn't seem to have any weight to it, you know, which means it shouldn't be
I
at the
mean,
bottom of the ocean.
yeah, 30 fathoms of weight. I mean, I yeah, it's just there isn't enough here, which is is especially disappointing because we spend an extra 30 minutes on it. You know, it's like you the guy isn't fleshed out. He doesn't spend any of the extra dialogue saying
That's
anything.
one of the things we see Chief Bell. He's like a nut job from the first second, right? It's
Yeah,
like he's like, oh, you used to be so stable and dependable. It's like, man, could we somehow seen like a little bit of that just for grounding?
yeah, that would have definitely helped.
Although
Um,
narratively, how do you do that? Just like show a scene on the ship and be like 5 days later? I don't know. Or
or I mean,
we're entering this area of the sea and he's like starts to get a little ooh, you know, 5 days later. I don't know.
well, the thing is, here's what you could have done is have everything that happened in this episode happen a little earlier and then give him 10 minutes towards the end to have like crazy ghost makeup on and run around being a ghost. Or like he jumps overboard and then he like is antagonizing the ship popping in and out of the water. Like do Event Horizon on him. That would have definitely helped. It would have been something. It's just this is paced like a 30-minute episode.
And I don't know if you watched when, the One Step Beyond episode, The Navigator. That's one of the ones we did, which it was a wooden ship, a tall ship, not a destroyer, but where they have kind of like a ghost ship out there or whatever. I was like, that's a case where I think they did it better in that episode than this one does. But it was
yeah
also
i
25 minutes.
yeah I don't necessarily think this is significantly better than the two steps beyond that we did.
Yeah. This is
um
this is you know, this is like saying to your high school kid, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
yeah, yeah, I'm as disappointed in this episode as the crew is disappointed in Bell.
Right. Okay. Well, let's do some questions on this. Who in this episode, if anyone, went through or into the Twilight Zone?
Well, it's Bell. He went to the Twilight Zone.
It is, but he was, I mean, really, he could, except for the seaweed. I mean, he could just be nuts, right?
Well, but I mean, that's another problem with making
Okay,
it
there's
the
a
ship the
hammer.
ship that he was on is that, yeah, if it was a ship he was on, then then it makes it even more definite that something is going on. you know?
But everyone hears a hammering, but only he sees the ghost. But then they find the ghost seaweed, which is no longer ghost seaweed, but real seaweed. So I
Hmm.
think they tried to inject the supernatural element, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really have
Yeah.
like any end destination.
It feels very what you see is what you get, which is not a great idea for the Twilight Zone usually.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it feels like a
Bell
very
for sure went.
straightforward story.
Bell went as far into the Twilight Zone as anyone in this episode. So, who's most aware of it around him? Captain Buzzkill, maybe?
I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
It's
that was
like
the first note I
when you
wrote for him, and then I
I
forgot what
mean,
its name actually was. I remember McClure. That's easy, but
there's always sort of a question of who watches the person go into the Twilight Zone or who observes,
they should
you
have
know.
switched the names, McClure and Bell. It should have been Chief McClure, and then the a diving Bell.
I mean, he did dive, didn't he?
Yeah. Come on, bad puns, right there, right for your taking, and they didn't take it.
Oh well. Uh well,
So okay, well okay. The does he deserve it question becomes a little more like dark though, because now we're like, does he deserve survivor's guilt and basically offing himself due to the survivor's guilt?
uh,
He made
maybe
his choices, but
that's
he's
really
also
that's
pretty.
almost I'm almost split on that. Like 50-50. Did he really mess up to the point where it killed six guys? I mean,
Yeah, it could just we reference Trek a lot as I already have, and was it the Voyager episode Timeless where Harry Kim does it's based. That's kind of a better version of this, and it's sci-fi fun. Do you know that episode I'm talking about?
Timeless is
You get like
sorry, those.
a 50-year-old Harry Kim coming back because he basically did something that killed everyone on Voyager,
Oh,
and he's trying to fix it.
oh, that was a great episode.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah, that was
episode.
much better than this, but he
Yeah,
also fixes it
he
because
also fixes it. Yes,
science.
the Twilight Zone, he's never going to fix it, right?
No.
He's gonna go into the drink, and we're never going to see him again.
I would not enjoy watching an episode where Harry Kim like jumped into space in the future because he felt bad about or froze himself. I
Well,
guess whatever it is.
original Harry King drifts off into space, and they have to get the parallel universe one to replace him.
That's
If you
right.
remember,
He
that
still is
did
the
happen.
regular one. Yeah, that did
That
happen.
did happen.
God.
But
I
yeah, I mean, this guy, how much is he haunted, and how much is he mentally ill? You know?
I mean, being haunted will make you mentally ill or it will
Okay,
make it worse.
so I'm gonna say he doesn't deserve
I'm
this
just
crap.
gonna say, yeah, probably not. It seems like he's doing an okay job on his new boat,
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
apparently he's been a stand-up guy, and we just never see that stand-up guy, which again I would
Yeah.
probably cite as a bit of a narrative flaw. Yeah, I like your
I mean,
he goes Event Horizon at the end. Sounds about right.
I could just say he broke a mirror. That was government property. Of course, he deserves to go to the Twilight Zone for that.
And again, if this were a series, he is. I mean, we just did Out Space 1999. He's he's got doomed guest star written all over him. Although on the Twilight Zone everyone's a guest star,
Yeah.
but if yeah, you could. I guess I see where this would be a narrative for it. This seems like a boilerplate episode of a episodic 60s military show. That's why I guess I was like, oh, that's two ticks away if you can make this a old school Star Trek show. So
Would this be better if it was an episode of The Love Boat that was just really dark?
yeah, sure. I mean, you can make anything's better as the Love Boat. Do we talk about my favorite Love
It's
Boat?
Liberace, and he's just like, I was on that boat
Oh God, yes,
with my brother
that'd be
George.
amazing. Did I tell you about my favorite Love Boat moment?
No.
That's the one with the village people because you can find the clip on YouTube of them playing in the on the ship. But there's a scene earlier. I can't find it isolated on YouTube, though you could just watch the episode on YouTube. But where it seems that they won't let them on the ship until they perform in the Navy. Like everyone just walk on the ship and they're kind of, oh no, prove who you are, and they have to like do a performance in the Navy, like on the boarding platform or whatever.
Would this episode have been better if the village people performed in the Navy to scare the ghosts away?
Yeah, sure. I mean, these aren't. Why are you even asking these questions?
Because there just isn't because the regular question, even the regular question, there's not enough meat on it because it's just, well, yeah, I guess he went to the Twilight Zone. I guess he either deserved it or he didn't. I guess he didn't deserve it. Yeah, this unfortunately not enough to chew on
So
here.
I'll break precedent and just 1.5. That's my tripometer. I did it first. That's for the ghost shot.
Mm, I was gonna give it a 2 because I did like the ghost shot a lot,
Oh, you like the
and
ghost shot more than
I
me
like the
then.
ghost shot more than you did. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
0.5
there was
more than I
something
did.
about it. It looked like one of those Pepper's Ghost things, but the way that the guys all had like weird bowl cuts, and they were all kind of doing those hand motions that were like this
And that
was
one guy had a
pretty
really
trippy.
strange face. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of the David Bowie Blackstar video
Yeah,
with
kind
the
of.
guys dancing, and those are supposed to look like herky jerky early 30s cartoons.
Yeah, well, maybe this is the Black Star of the Twilight Zone. And that guy's David Bowie. I don't know. That's
No, I like Blackstar way
there's
too much.
nothing. There's
Uh,
nothing. Yeah, there's nothing there.
Obsolete
Oh,
man, they could be the Blackstar of the Twilight Zone.
sure. I mean, there.
Some
Yeah.
shadow play. I don't know.
The Shadow Play is the Shadow Play by Joy Division of the Twilight
Sorry,
Zone.
folks. I think the 30 Fathom Grave is kind of the whatever of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I
but
can't fathom why they made this longer than 30 minutes. That's what's
but
called this.
there's nothing aggressively bad about it. I mean, Mr. Dingle's still worse, you know.
Yeah, I could sit here and name worse episodes. It never made me like angry or anything. It's rated 7.2 in IMDb, which is like not low, you know?
I mean, that's the other thing. I guess there's nothing bad in here.
You know,
I mean, they didn't like make any like obvious mistakes, I guess. But yeah, nothing stands out either,
I mean, when they when he said
or
that
little stands out.
he came up with a bunch of dumb-headed boners, that was kind of wrong.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, no, that was great. I love that line was fantastic. Okay. I mean,
Oh,
I just started writing like song lyrics, like the Sonar Shack is a little old place where we can get together, and they're gonna
oh,
whip this good. Yeah.
oh, oh. There was a part where somebody said she wasn't stuck in tight, deep, but not tight.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay. See, because I know boats are she, and it didn't even occur to me
Uh,
now that you're saying it
I mean,
with bawdy innuendo.
they have a sick bay like just like the Enterprise does. That was like
That's
that's
probably where
fun.
I started like comparing this to a TOS, you know?
Yeah, all that stuff happening in sick bay. I mean, yeah, how many times have ghosts been on sick bay in Star Trek? Like
Well,
one out of every 3 episodes,
we got a
constantly.
we got a Kirk proxy in this. We've got a McCoy proxy. I mean that I mean this would be an episode that Spock doesn't do much, but he there's a guy there that's his advisor that you could be like, oh, that's the Spock role, you know?
Yep.
But it's
Or
also probably not the best episode of Star Trek either, you know?
no.
It's like the one where that guy runs off with the shuttle, which they do have a sequel to in Prodigy, which is kind of cool, like 50 years later. But the Obsession, I think that to me, I mean, it's good, but it's not a great episode. And yeah, that's I guess where we are here. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not disappointed. No, I am disappointed. I'm not angry.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I came into this season not expecting much, and I've not been delivered much. That's fine.
Okay.
It's like not um if none of these shows are particularly good, at least there's only 18 of them.
And season 5 obviously has a few stone cold classics. I do remember watching the parallel from this season, liking it at some point in time, although I can't promise you it's not padded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, since this is we might as well just break podcast format entirely, and I'm going to read a 1-star IMDb review.
Okay, go for it.
Bad. The 30 Fathom Grave is a long, dreary daytime drama without tangibility. The Bell character is poorly acted by Mike Kellen. So many episodes about aliens and ghosts, but this isn't even a very good review. I'm not even
Yeah,
going to finish
and
it.
I did like the Bell performance, by the way. That I
Yeah, I
would.
thought he was good. He obviously had maybe, is it safe to say he had too much to work with?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he was
maybe.
crazy from the start. He needed to have like script
Yeah.
wise, he needed evolution, but that the performance was fine. Because I'm sitting here wishing that they had like done the character better in the script. You know?
It was a weird thing when he just had a crazy rant, and the crazy rant went on for like 4 minutes because they just
That's
needed to fill time.
that's meat.
Mm-mm. It's all right.
Speaking of which, would you like a broiled steak?
If that's all you got.
That's why he says, okay, good job to McLean,
Mm,
McClure. I have forgotten his name
or
now. He's like, okay, McClure, you can come up now. I got a broiled steak waiting for you. I'm like,
I'd rather just die, but goodbye.
I mean, I guess when you're on a naval ship in the early 60s, maybe that is the best you're getting, you know?
Yeah, maybe that's what people preferred.
You could have invited him to the captain's table. Maybe he's got good stuff there.
It's like, you've watched a bunch of those old like drive-in like reels of
Oh,
you know,
those foods look disgusting. Yeah.
yeah, they're always well done burgers and things like that.
But there's a 1963 show with James Franco where the first thing he notices is the food's so much better in 1963.
It just depends.
Hmm.
James Franco?
I think he's the
You're
star of
talking
the
about
show.
it's James Franco, but it's a movie about 1963 or it's a movie.
It's a mini series about him going back in time to
Oh.
something the Kennedy assassination. I kind of forgot, to be honest. It's based on
To
a Stephen
watch it.
King book, I believe.
He goes back to watch it.
It
You
might
know,
be like I don't see. I'm probably mixing it with the Gene Roddenberry pitch for like every Star Trek movie after the first one, where he wanted the crew of the Enterprise to go back and allow the Kennedy assassination to happen. I guess he wanted to do a city on the edge of forever thing, you know, or something. I don't know. Steal Harlan
be
Ellison's idea one more time.
like Quantum Leap did, where he tried so hard to save Kennedy, but he saved Jackie, and then canonically
By the
Scott
way,
Bakula saved Jackie.
I read the comic book, which is supposed to be Harlan Ellison's draft of the City on the Edge of Forever, which was fine, but
Yeah.
show's better. Yeah, the show did it better.
Huh. Interesting.
That's the case for because it's always been like,
I
oh, they screwed the sci-fi writer's script, and it's like, and that one his was never going to work on a 60 Star Trek budget. It's just like beyond impossible. And then it kind of tightens the story a little bit. So it's worth reading the comic to be sure, but yeah,
I can't remember. Was that one of the cases where he was mad about the way it turned out?
yes. Well,
Okay,
he's mad. He was
that's
mad
what I
about
thought.
everything.
Yeah, he's mad about everything. That's fine. That's why. I mean, that's why he has no argument, but he must scream. Um, I'm looking at pictures of broiled steak, and there is some broiled steak with pink on the inside, so I don't think that you have to overcook
Okay,
it to make it broiled.
stick one in the chat if you can. I'll stay. And the rest of you can just wiki your broiled steak and consider if you want to eat it or not. Do we have a chat on Zoom? I don't
Uh,
even know. I guess we're
that's a good
wrapping this up.
question.
Is that the kind of thing you get at like the 80s cafeteria in Atlanta? It would have been what, S&S or Morrison's? Do you get broiled steaks there? Is that like a Salisbury steak?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been. I feel like if I went to a cafeteria like that, I probably would. Usually, if you go to somewhere like Golden Corral, then there's like a guy cutting steaks and cooking them for you, and they're usually grilled. And they're usually you
I
can
mean,
ask.
Doesn't have much, steak is usually like, here's little strips of meat for you, and it's rare that you're just going to sit down and knife and fork a big chunk of meat.
You can usually
Okay, it
I
looks
think
better than I expect. Okay. Yeah, it looks better than than this name sounds.
yeah,
I
I
mean, it
there
probably
is a
doesn't stand up
chat.
to a grilled steak, but
Your computer. This is so bad for a
ooh,
podcast.
that
There,
one looks
I put a meat in the chat.
okay.
I put
You put your meat in the
I
chat.
put a meat in the meeting chat.
Okay. Well, if people haven't already stopped listening, I guess if people haven't already stopped listening, I guess we'll plug it and end it for today. Unless we'll plug
We're
the
gonna
submarine back into
we're
the
gonna
ground,
yeah,
the
we're
seabed.
gonna plug the hole in the submarine and send it on its way, I guess.
Okay. I have one more. The airlock chamber from the sub rescue ship. That was cool. I never really thought about that before. How do you do that? You know?
Um yeah, that was cool. I barely remember it, but
Like, yeah, that does make sense. Why hasn't that ever occurred to me? So, but
yeah, then you gotta have the airlock. You gotta the thing where where your water comes off you
and they
and
really can board the old dilapidated submarine, which you gotta have balls to do that.
yeah,
Board a
especially because it's full of corpses.
yeah.
Like that
In the
can't have, if they were
Navy.
dead for 20 years, that's gotta have been not,
In the Navy.
not very fun.
That
I
they
mean,
should
that's one of the
that's
things
where
where like
they should have sent the village people down in that airlock ship to that's where the village people enter this.
young man, you are now a corpse. I said, young man, you are dead on the boat.
Okay.
um, yeah, yeah,
You are dead on
that's one
dust
of those
boot.
things. It's like that was one of those things where I was like, Yes, that was a very good idea not to show the corpses. Because it's much scarier in my head than if they'd put a skeletons on it or something
Oh,
on the
okay.
screen.
That's why I see. That's an okay. They did impregnate that image in my head where I thought I saw it when they described it. That's also because you and I just did the Testament Arcadia for Space 1999, where we see a table
Where
full
they
of
did.
skeletons. So I just
Yeah.
kind of juxtaposed the two.
Yeah, he says to the captain that he saw a guy with a hammer, and it was not clear whether he was saying that the guy with the hammer was less decomposed than the other guys. But
Or if he was
if that guy,
aroused.
but he says something like, "Well, you can tell your grandchildren that, but never tell anybody else." Basically, he says it in a much more roundabout way than that.
Yeah, because they don't want a court martial. He's being selfish. Captain Kirk would never done that. He would have put in his report.
If you were alive for 20 years and you were on a yeah, that nobody would have enough strength to hammer for 12 hours if you were in that
Of course,
situation.
what was Bell? Bell was the chief. So yeah, that's like that's this is how you get Scotty off of Star Trek, I guess. Scotty goes nuts
Yeah.
and jumps off the ship,
I mean, Scotty's pretty manic.
right? Or Chief O'Brien, if you want a chief, right? Of course, he's the one
No.
that all the horrible stuff happens to in DS9.
Yeah, O'Brien must suffer. That is the rule number one. That's the first page of the show Bible.
And
I
if
don't
you want
know.
to suffer, join us on Patreon at Podcastio Podcastius, where you could get episodes early with a little extra banter. Mark has already alluded to Films and Filth. This is Ikea Podcasting, where we talk about really good movies and really bad movies, and then read an opposing review on it as you attempted. There is Podcast 1999, where we talk about Space 1999. I brought that up. I'm cross podcasting too much. Hell, I even mentioned it called Disney today, didn't I? There's also
Yeah.
Luke Loves Pokemon, Hyrule Field Report about Zelda, and the Game Show, where gamers game the games to each other for a game. Okay.
And until next time, stay submerged.
I'll fathom you later.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't usually pull the I'm taking the last word, but I already had that
Mine
loaded in my
Nah,
verbal
mine wasn't
torpedo
great.
too. Mine wasn't
Mine wasn't.
either, so we got two crappy ones.
Good. Perfect.
Okay. So yeah. No, tomorrow is witness for the prosecution. 48 hours. Am I right on that?
Tomorrow? Yeah, day after tomorrow.
Yeah, but not the
Not to
day
be
after
confused,
tomorrow.
the day
The
after
day after tomorrow.
tomorrow. That will
Next
be
week, I'll send Brian a note. That might have to be the Tuesday Wednesday split, because this time next week is actually going to be in his image. So,
okay.
and then Monday we're doing the Forbidden Zone, right? Which Scott may or may
Yes.
not be in on if he's finished his taxes yet.
Okay. Tell him to come. I haven't seen him since
I told him
whatever
to come
Garth
because he
Marenghi's Dark
I
Place,
just
Scotch
mentioned
Mist.
I just mentioned it to him, and then he started like watching, and then he became like weirdly obsessed with this. I'm like, well, it's if we're doing a Monday morning, you should join us. But he's like, oh, they've been doing his taxes for like 2 weeks now for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah,
Meanwhile, I
I've for
haven't
some
called about
reason
my
I've
taxes.
watched The Fog like 2 weeks early, which is
How was it?
it's shit. It's absolute. It's my least favorite movie that we've done for the podcast so
All
far.
right.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. Anyway.
We have the right guest for it, I believe.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, it was the guy who was on your podcast for Evil Dead 2, is that right?
I think it was Evil Dead 1, but yes.
Oh, he was in
I'm
one.
sure we talked about 2, but
Yeah.
or was
No.
it Evil Dead 2? Crap, I don't even remember now. I think it was the first one though.
Well, we'll talk about it. It's, it sucks. Don't get too excited.
Okay, I won't get too
And
excited.
maybe I'll take this time to watch the original one again, because I've only seen the original one once.
Is that from the 70s?
I think it's like 1980, like
Who directed it? That's not De Palma,
Carpenter.
is it? Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's the one he did not do the score for, I believe. No, that's the thing.
Yeah, I no, he didn't do the score for the thing. He may not have done the score for the Fog either. Yeah,
Okay.
1980. But that has like Jamie Lee Curtis and Adrienne Barbeau and Janet Leigh in it. And I've only seen it once. I
Okay, it's got the
mean,
Halloween gang, does it? Anyway, it's doubtful I will watch the original Fog, though I will watch. I think we've already decided that Wicker Man's going to basically beat both of them at the same time.
oh, okay. Well,
because
yeah, no problem. I got no problem with that.
Brian and his wife are coming on because apparently she's
Mhm.
obsessed about The Wicker Man. You're obsessed with The Wicker Man, if I remember. I'm somewhat obsessed with The
Yeah,
Wicker
that's
Man.
one of my favorite movies of all time. Like I was considering doing it for my birthday movie just to um but just to do it in not only to do it like sort of on time close to the this other one, but also just to
I think let's do it all together. And what I'll say is it'll be like, The Wicker Man 2006 or whatever it is. And then in the description, I'll just put, hey, folks, we're talking about both of them.
yeah. Well, I mean, we can always use it as a comparison, and that's one of those things. Like maybe I don't know if Luke would have watched it normally, but I think Luke would really like it,
Yeah, I'm going
like
to
the
try and
original.
convince Luke to watch the original as well
Yeah,
for that.
because that's one of those like, man, if I don't want to tell him what the plot is, but I think he'd be into it.
I mean, I assume the Nick Cage one has the same plot. It's just not done well. I haven't watched that. You've never seen it, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any shocking twists. No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Um,
you, me, Brian, his wife. Apparently, none of us have watched this before because we like the old one.
well, when it
But
came
now we
out, I
have to
love
watch the
Nicolas
new one.
Cage, but when it came out, I heard there were no songs in it. So I was like, why aren't there any fucking songs in it? That's stupid.
And
So
then a
that's
year
why I didn't
after
go see
that,
it.
Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call New Orleans came out, and there was no reason to watch this or The Wicker Man.
I think this is probably pretty different, but
I'm just saying
you
that
know,
that was that sated your Nick Cage. I just showed someone the scene last week from like when he goes to the old folks home.
that he strangles that lady or whatever.
He
Yeah,
was
it's
like, "I'm
fucking
gonna
awesome.
kill you."
He just takes her oxygen and it's just like
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Because that movie crazy Nick Cage like through and through. Because I keep talking about how I like the color out space one, but it takes half the movie. Where Port of Call New Orleans, he's just like fucking insane the entire movie.
It was really funny because I have a friend who's like obsessed with Nicolas Cage, sort of in an ironic way, like internet person kind of a way.
Mm.
And she posted a picture of herself in a hot tub and said, "Someone photoshopped me with Cage." And I photoshopped him like holding the lady's oxygen in front of her. She didn't respond to it at all, but
Oh,
you
that's
know,
too bad. And you took that time and effort.
um, I don't, I don't, whatever.
I
I'm
mean,
here to fuck.
Cage, it's
I'm here to
always.
fuck things up. I'm not here to unironically Photoshop Nicolas Cage in your photo.
I mean, Cage was always. I mean, he's always fun to watch on screen. I mean, that's why I'm really kind of like interested in watching The Wicker Man. Like, how much is that going to work out here in what is apparently a truly crap movie? Who
I'll
knows?
probably
What if
like
we all
it.
love it? What if we all love it?
I'll probably like it. I'll
Hmm.
probably like it on some level. It just won't. It won't be like one of my favorite movies of all time, like the original
Unless it
is.
is. Unless it is. Maybe you're going to
That'd
be the
be
one guy
interesting.
that's like hardcore for the newer Wicker Man.
I mean, but it's not going to have a song
Yeah.
called "Will You Fuck Them Gently, Johnny" or whatever that fucking song is. you know? Won't have folk songs that play about fucking while naked girls run around in circles trying to kill a cop. But we'll see. We'll see. It's at least an interesting. It's going to be an interesting time. And even if Luke doesn't watch it, maybe he'll just represent the guy who
Well,
doesn't watch it.
yeah, maybe we'll convince him to watch it by the end of the podcast.
Yeah, who knows? It'd be funny. It'd be really funny if he just doesn't want to watch it, and then I just made it my birthday movie just to force him to watch it for
Is
like
that
no other reason.
is that the best Christopher Lee appearance? Is that Christopher Lee's top appearance?
I mean, it's my favorite. I haven't seen
I
everything Christopher
I
Lee's been in.
I think it's better in Dracula, and he's great as Dracula.
I'm not a big Dracula person. Like, I don't know if there's a Dracula movie that I like love. I mean,
His what you've seen was 57's Horror of Dracula with Christopher Lee.
probably
Okay,
I
that
saw
one is
some
pretty good.
Dracula. I mean,
That's the Hammer one, right? Well, it's of course it's Hammer. It's Christopher Lee.
my probably my favorite vampire movie is John Wick Park's Thirst, which is a movie about just vampires that are in a toxic relationship.
Yeah, I'm not a big
Not, uh,
vampire guy. Although I am watching Twilight this week, aren't I?
it's yeah, it's I mean it's fine, but the thing is, Dracula is such a like
I hope it's a
stuffy.
good love story.
It's such a stuffy concept. It's like this rich guy shows up doing, you know what
Rich
I
guy
mean?
stuff.
did we go into this when I did Dracula for your podcast? Because like
I don't
I don't
remember.
know. It's not like it's not a great. I don't think it's like a fantastic story from the start.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's not my favorite.
I would rather somebody do something else with I mean, I'd rather watch Blade than Dracula.
Hmm. I've never actually seen Blade, you know.
What?
I've never seen Blade
You've never seen the first Blade
or the
or the
second
second or
Blade
the third?
or the third. Yeah, because I don't like vampires that much.
God, maybe I should make that my birthday movie. I'm like, what in my head? I'm like, what's more important, making Luke watch The Wicker Man or making Matt watch Blade? I mean, some of the CGI looks like absolute dog shit now, but
Well,
it's
hopefully
still
Luke will watch the old Wicker Man and it won't be an issue.
it's just like so much. It's such like a 90s edgy, like violent movie, but at the same time, Wesley Snipes is just like vamping, literally vamping like so hard, just going like there'll just be like a normal conversation happening, and he's sort of in the corner going like
See, I think it pushed the 90s edgy so hard, like even in 97 or whatever. I was like, no.
it's so good. It's so good. It's good, and the second one's even better. The third one's not good, but
That's what I've heard. Yeah, but and also, 5 years later, like this whole soup, like after you got like, especially once the MCU's kick in, I was like, why am I gonna go watch Blade again? There's lots of
I
superhero
like
movies.
Blade better than almost anything Marvel did.
Okay, again,
I
haven't seen
don't
it.
I don't like it better than Punisher Warzone.
And I do have that right behind me. Haven't seen that yet though.
I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago because the guy died recently, and it's
Ah,
still great. It is
okay.
great. It's great.
I got
That is
that
all.
and the shitty one they
Yeah.
made just before it. Yeah, I got that
I
too.
didn't see that one. I didn't see
Well,
that one at all.
I mean, maybe I'll love that. I don't know.
I think if you think it's funny, if you think that stuff that happens in RoboCop is funny, then you'll probably like the Warzone better, because
Okay.
there
Well, I
is
just
just literally one of my favorite things. It's just like only a mild spoiler, but he just like he just makes the guy's head explode just because he's in front of him, basically.
yeah,
Like,
I finally put the Blu-ray Apocalypse like in sleeves, right? So they don't
uh,
take up all the space. But you
okay,
can see these movies just go on. There it is. Oh, yeah, there it is. They just go on
nice.
fucking forever here.
Yeah, I that's part of why I don't buy movies as much, is because I feel like I'll never. That makes me feel like I'm more pressure to
Well, I'm
watch all
like,
of them.
there's no, I mean, rental shops, not that I rent anyway, but just places that thumb around and look through movies and stuff like barely exist anymore. So, well, my room is that place now.
Well,
It's
and
like,
also a lot of times well, now that I have a 4K player, I'm like generally not gonna buy stuff unless it's 4K, and a lot of stuff isn't in 4K.
have you
Like,
encountered the soap opera effect?
on other people's TVs, yeah, I always find
Okay.
a way to turn it off, except for some people's TVs, they do not let you turn them off.
I'm not sure ours does. Yeah, because we put them Back to the Future too. And it's like, why does it look fucking weird? Looks better and worse at the same
Mm.
time.
Well, you have to make sure the settings on your TV
Oh,
and your.
we were messing around with the settings last night, but it's all in Japanese. I was making Hana do it, so.
Well, I mean, you can. Worst comes to worst, you could look up the American manual and sort of just look at what corresponds with it. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But
um,
because I thought we fixed it, but then a few minutes later, I was like, I don't know if we fixed it. So
yeah,
after been watching a few minutes of that, you're like not sure when it's off.
yeah, it's. Thankfully the TV I have in my room, this TV doesn't even have the option. Like, it's not
Okay,
even on here.
that's
Um,
kind of nice.
it is. This TV specifically is like the lowest price TV that had like a quick response for video games and stuff.
I mean, I
The
mostly watch things on this computer or on this little. I have a
Yeah.
like a not tiny but not big TV right here. So
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the TV I have in my living room was somebody gave it to me when they left town,
19
and it's
inch
like,
maybe 19 inch.
yeah, oh,
I
this is
think.
55, and the
Because it looks the same size as my laptop screen, and that's 19 inch. So,
I just use a big giant TV for my monitor, so I don't have to use reading glasses.
hmm, there you go. Okay, no, I'm gonna have to squint here.
I would definitely have to, if I use a laptop, I have to use reading glasses. So
Right.
it's like,
Ah. Okay, I will catch you in
uh,
2 of the days then. I have not started that movie
right.
yet. Have you started that movie?
No,
Okay.
I'm sure I'll probably like it, but I haven't. It's one of those things I just haven't. Maybe I'll watch it now. Fuck it.
I mean, I won't lie, I'm not the most excited about this one, so we'll see.
Well, I
But
mean,
maybe it'll grab me.
I wasn't excited about watching Singing in the Rain, and like almost, I was just thinking about that today. Like, so often I'm just walking down the street and being like, man, it was really great watching Singing in the Rain. Like, I can't believe how much I love that movie. So yeah, it's always
No, no,
there's
if I get pleasantly surprised, that's great. I'm certainly open to that.
yeah, there's always that like your favorite movie is the one you haven't seen yet. But
Right.
I always look at it like I think a lot of people our age do not look at it like that, and
Well,
they
that's why
just
I'm
look at it
excited to
like
have
I've already seen all the movies that are good.
yeah, that's why I'm
Which
excited to have these drawers of like my own like weird West Coast video in my room now.
yeah, I could always watch my 4K Inglorious Bastards that got here 2 days after we recorded the podcast.
Or my Inglorious Bastards just kept skipping and then I just downloaded and watched it.
Oh God, I need to make sure it doesn't skip. Jesus.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
gonna stop the recording then.